anti-tank rockets, machine gun fire raking the exposed infantry. The 761st's tanks return fire, maneuvering through fields, using the terrain for cover, engaging targets at ranges where the Sherman's gun is effective. Rivers' tank destroys 2 more anti-tank positions. He directs his driver, Corporal James Jackson, through a hedgerow, flanking a German machine gun nest that's pinning down American infantry. The Sherman's bow machine gun rips through the position. The infantry advances. By 10:00 hours, the 761st has punched through the German outer defenses. They've destroyed 6 anti-tank guns, 3 half-tracks, and an estimated 40 German soldiers. The battalion has taken casualties, 2 Shermans damaged, 3 crew members wounded, but they're still advancing. The white infantry officers are shocked. These black tankers are fighting and winning. But the real test comes on November 16th. The 761st is assigned to support the 104th Infantry Division in an assault on German positions near the town of Goibling, a strategic crossroads defended by elements of the 11th Panzer Division. Intelligence reports indicate the Germans have brought up reinforcements, Panthers, maybe Tigers, heavy armor. Rivers Company, Charlie Company 761st Tank Battalion leads the assault. They advance at dawn, 16 Shermans moving through fog-shrouded fields. Rivers is in his usual position, scanning for threats, coordinating with the other tank commanders over the radio. At 07:20 hours, they make contact. A German Panther emerges from the fog, 200 yards ahead. Its 75mm gun is already traversing towards Rivers' tank. Driver, hard left. Gunner, target front. The Sherman lurches and left. The Panther fires. The shell screams past, so close Rivers feels the supersonic crack. The round impacts the tank behind him, penetrating the armor, killing the driver instantly. Rivers doesn't have time to process it. His gunner is already firing. The Sherman's 75mm shell hits the Panther's frontal armor and bounces off. The Panther is turning, bringing its gun to bear again. Gunner, track shot, immobilize it. Jenkins fires again. The shell hits the Panther's left track, severing it. The German tank can't maneuver, but its gun is still operational. Rivers orders his driver to reverse behind a building. Another Sherman moves up, flanks the disabled Panther, and puts 3 rounds into its side armor. The Panther explodes. But the Germans aren't done. At 0800 hours, a German counterattack hits Charlie Company, 4 Panthers and infantry. The 761st is outnumbered and outgunned. The Panther's frontal armor can deflect Sherman shells at anything but point-blank range. The smart move would be to retreat, call for air support, wait for reinforcements. Rivers doesn't retreat. He maneuvers his tank into a position where he can hit a Panther from the side, where the armor is thinner. He waits. The Panther advances unawares. His gunner fires. The shell penetrates. The Panther's ammunition cooks off, the turret lifting into the air from the internal explosion. 2 more Panthers are destroyed by other 761st tanks using the same tactic, aggressive flanking maneuvers that put the Shermans at risk but exploit the Panthers' vulnerabilities. The German counterattack breaks. The infantry retreats. Charlie Company takes Goibling at 10:30 hours. The cost? 4 Shermans destroyed, 11 crew members killed or wounded, but they took the objective. Against elite Panzer forces, against tanks that were supposed to be superior in every way. The white infantry officers are no longer skeptical. They're requesting the 761st specifically for support operations. Word is spreading through 3rd Army. These black tankers can fight. If you find this kind of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage and defiance deserve to be told, and by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. November 19th, 1944. The 761st is assigned to support the 104th Infantry Division in an assault on German positions near the town of Borgaltroff. The Germans are defending from fortified positions, bunkers, trenches, minefields. It's brutal terrain for tanks. Reuben Rivers' company is ordered to lead the assault. At 6:30 a.m., Rivers' tank hits a German mine. The explosion destroys the left track and damages the suspension. The tank is immobilized. Rivers orders his crew to bail out while he calls for a recovery vehicle. But before the recovery vehicle arrives, German forces launch a counterattack. Infantry with Panzerfausts, man-portable anti-tank rockets, machine gun fire raking the exposed infantry. The 761st's tanks return fire, maneuvering through fields, using the terrain for cover, engaging targets at ranges where the Sherman's gun is effective. In 2 hours, Rivers and his crew hold off German attacks, firing the main gun and machine guns, preventing the Germans from overrunning the American position. They destroy a German half-track and kill dozens of infantry. Finally, at 900 hours, American reinforcements arrive. The German counterattack collapses. Rivers' tank is recovered and repaired. But Rivers himself is wounded. Shrapnel from a German shell has torn into his left leg. The battalion medic examines it. The wound is serious. Bone fragments, severe tissue damage. Rivers needs to be evacuated to a field hospital. Rivers refuses. "I'm not leaving my crew," he tells the medic. "We've got a mission." The medic argues. Rivers' battalion commander orders him to evacuate, but Rivers won't budge. He has his leg bandaged, injects himself with morphine, and climbs back into his tank. November 19th becomes November 20th. The 761st continues its advance. Rivers is in constant pain, but he continues commanding his tank, engaging German positions, supporting the infantry. On November 19th, near the town of Binning, Rivers' company encounters another German defensive line, anti-tank guns, dug-in infantry, a German Panther in a hull-down position. Rivers' orders are to break through. He leads from the front, as always. His tank advances, firing at German positions, suppressing their fire so the other Shermans can maneuver. At 14:35 hours, a German anti-tank gun fires. The shell hits Rivers' tank in the side, penetrates the armor. The explosion inside is catastrophic. Rivers and his 2 crew are killed instantly. Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers, who refused evacuation, who fought through excruciating pain, who led from the front because he believed in his mission and his men, is dead. He is 23 years old. But the 761st doesn't stop. Rivers' death galvanizes the battalion. They fight harder, more aggressively. The German defensive line breaks. The 761st advances. Over the next 6 months, the 761st Tank Battalion will fight in 6 countries. They will participate in the Battle of the Bludge, Hitler's last major offensive, helping to stop German advances and then counterattack. They will break through the Siegfried Line, Germany's supposedly impregnable defensive fortifications.
And on May 5, 1945, the 751st Tank Battalion will arrive at Gunskirchen concentration camp in Austria. They will be among the first American units to liberate the camp's survivors, Jewish prisoners, political prisoners, resistance fighters, men and women who'd survived the Nazi death machine. The prisoners will emerge from the barracks, skeletal, starving, barely able to walk, and they will see black American soldiers climbing down from their tanks. Some of the survivors will later describe it as the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. Soldiers who'd faced their own oppression, liberating people from genocide. The 751st will serve 183 consecutive days in combat. They will suffer a 50% casualty rate, one of the highest in the European theater. They will be awarded 1 Medal of Honor, 11 Silver Stars, 69 Bronze Stars, and over 300 Purple Hearts. But none of that recognition comes immediately.
The impact of the 761st Tank Battalion extended far beyond their tactical victories. First, they demolished the Army's racial theories. Every study, every report, every justification for segregation had claimed black soldiers couldn't handle the technical and psychological demands of armored warfare. The 761st proved definitively that those theories were lies rooted in prejudice, not science. Army leadership couldn't ignore it. The 761st's combat record was too strong. They'd faced elite German units, Panzer divisions with superior equipment and years of combat experience, and won. They'd operated in conditions, winter warfare, urban combat, breakthrough operations that tested the limits of any armored unit. And they'd done it while facing obstacles white units never encountered, serving under officers who doubted them, fighting for a country that didn't grant them full citizenship, knowing that if they failed, it would be used as evidence against all black soldiers. Second, the 761st changed how white soldiers viewed their black comrades. The infantrymen who'd fought alongside the 761st, who'd seen them under fire, who'd been saved by their covering fire, who'd advanced because the black tankers broke through German lines, couldn't maintain the fiction that black soldiers couldn't fight. Letters home from white soldiers began to change. "These colored tankers are as good as any I've seen," one infantry lieutenant wrote. "They saved our asses more than once." Third, the 761st inspired other black soldiers. Across the European theater, in segregated supply units and labor battalions, black soldiers heard about the 761st, about Rivers, about the men who'd volunteered to fight, who'd faced down Panthers and Tigers, who'd proven that black soldiers could not only fight, they could excel. Fourth, and this is critical, the 761st's combat record became ammunition for the civil rights movement. After the war, when activists pushed for military desegregation, they pointed to the 761st, to the 332nd Fighter Group, the Tuskegee Airmen, to the hundreds of thousands of black soldiers who'd served with distinction in a segregated military. How could the Army justify continued segregation when black units had proven themselves in combat? How could the nation deny full citizenship to men who'd fought and died for it? In 1948, President Truman signed Executive Order 9981, desegregating the U.S. military. The order didn't mention the 761st specifically, but their legacy, their combat record, was part of the evidence that made segregation indefensible. But for Reuben Rivers and the 70 other men of the 761st who died in combat, recognition came too late. Rivers was recommended for the Medal of Honor immediately after his death. His battalion commander wrote that Rivers's actions, refusing evacuation, continuing to fight despite catastrophic wounds, leading from the front until he was killed, met every criterion for the nation's highest military honor. The recommendation was denied. Rivers was awarded the Silver Star instead. For 52 years, the Medal of Honor recommendation languished, buried in archives, forgotten. It wasn't until 1993, nearly 50 years after the war ended, that a comprehensive review of World War II combat records revealed that numerous black soldiers who'd been recommended for the Medal of Honor had been passed over due to racial discrimination. Rivers's case was reopened. In 1997, President Bill Clinton posthumously awarded Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers the Medal of Honor. Rivers's family, his surviving sisters, received the medal on his behalf. Rivers himself had been buried in a segregated cemetery in France, among other black soldiers who died in combat.
His grave, like theirs, had been maintained by the American Battle Monuments Commission, but for decades, few Americans knew who he was or what he'd done. Reuben Rivers was born in 1921 in Tecumseh, Oklahoma, the son of Willie and Lillian Rivers. He had 7 siblings. He'd worked in his father's fields since childhood, dropping out of school after 8th grade to help support the family. In 1942, when he enlisted, he told his family he wanted to prove that black men could serve their country with honor. He wanted to fight fascism. He wanted to show that the Army's racial policies were wrong. He did all of that, and it killed him. The 761st Tank Battalion returned to the United States in 1946. They were given a parade in New York City, a brief moment of recognition. But most of the men returned to a nation that still enforced Jim Crow, that still denied them basic rights, that still treated them as second-class citizens despite their combat records. Many of the 761st's veterans became active in the civil rights movement. They'd faced down the Wehrmacht. They weren't going to be intimidated by segregationists in the South. Today, the 761st's legacy lives on. The battalion was reactivated in the 1960s and continues to serve in the U.S. Army. Their World War II veterans are honored at the 761st Tank Memorial at Fort Hood, Texas, the same base where they trained before deployment. In 1978, the 761st was awarded the Presidential Unit Citation, the highest honor for a military unit. The citation reads in part, "The 761st Tank Battalion distinguished itself by extraordinary heroism in connection with military operations against an armed enemy. Their courage, determination, and esprit de corps were in keeping with the highest traditions of military service." Of the 761st's original members who deployed to Europe, fewer than a dozen are still alive today. The last surviving members are now in their late 90s. They gather occasionally at reunions, sharing stories, remembering the men who didn't come home. They remember Reuben Rivers, the sharecropper's son from Oklahoma, who refused to leave his crew, who fought through pain and fear because he believed in his mission. They remember the 70 other men of the 761st who died in combat. They remember that every mission they completed, every German position they destroyed, every town they liberated was a refutation of the why that black soldiers couldn't fight. The 761st didn't just fight the Germans, they fought the assumption that they didn't belong in combat. They fought the doctrine that relegated them to support roles. They fought the prejudice that said they lacked courage, intelligence, discipline, and they won.
If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Staff Sergeant Reuben Rivers and the men of the 751st Tank Battalion do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.